Boys and girls, of all ages, Holly, about to give you a Magic. In this video, we talk about the Magic the Gathering Duels game that just got released. It's a yearly release. They're going to throw in every few months to a year. And the feature is currently unavailable. We're going to go into the store. We're going to open up the starter box. You can use these cards to create a number of different playstyles. So, Magic Duels boosters, which we got in story mode. So, in the booster pack, actually update. Return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand, kind of like a sap, Hearthstone, which is pretty cool. Blue decks, and I like playing red decks. Orden All, which costs mana and then 2 water. Pain cannot be blocked, and prowess. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this creature gets 1 of turn. So basically, if you're throwing enchantments or anything else to remove target, also use that in instance, kind of do some unfavorable trades. Third card is a Mage Ring Bully. A human warrior. Prowess, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this creature also gets 1/1 per end of turn. Mage Ring Bully attacks each turn if able, meaning that you cannot control when he attacks. So, 1 mana and 1 fire mana. Fourth card is a Fire Agent. As an additional cost, cast twice a creature and target creature. So, like if you have a creature, you can use that for get rid of a bigger creature. Cards like that are extremely fun because you have some little cards in the deck for a little bit of synergy early on. But later on, they kind of punish you. So, a Fleshbag Marauder is 3 mana with 1 skull. When Fleshbag Marauder enters the battlefield, each player sacrifices a creature. Now, this could be significant if you have no creatures in your deck left, like in your hand, or if it sacrifices a creature on the board. And finally, the last card is called Abbot of Carol Keep. And again, another prowess ability. Whenever the Carol Keep enters the battlefield, exile the top card of your library. Until end of turn, you may play that card. So, like, if you have 6 mana, you exile the card, and if you can play it, so like if you have a land, so basically you want to play this before you play land. If that card is a land, you play it, obviously. And you can, if it's an enchantment, you can also play it for unfavorable trades, etc. I'm guessing Magic the Duels Origins is the expansion name, so they'll probably have more later on. So we have a second booster pack. Inside we receive a Subterranean Scout. When Subterranean Scout enters the battlefield, target creature with power 2 or less can't be blocked this turn. So basically, if you're using a lighter creature, you can throw out a little extra damage there. So kind of nice for a rush deck. And next up we have the Akoran Sergeant. First strike, 2/2, and renowned 1. When this creature deals combat damage to a player, if it isn't renowned, put a 1/1 counter on it, and it becomes renowned. So basically, if it does damage to a player, give it 3/3, basically, if it gets an attack off. Interesting mechanic there. So, Fire Fiend Elemental, and you can use it as soon as it comes under control for 4 mana, a 3/2. And renowned 1, when the creature deals combat damage to a player, if it isn't removed, put a 1/1 counter on it, basically making it a 4/3 that you can play the same turn. Fourth card is a Possessed Scab, which is 5 mana altogether. And it has a golden border, so I'm not sure exactly what that means. When Possessed Scab enters the battlefield, return target instant, sorcery, or creature card from your graveyard to your hand. And if Possessed Scab would die, exile it instead. So basically, you can't resurrect it from the graveyard once you lose it. But the fact that you can return an instant or sorcery makes the card really good. Anchor to the Ether, put target creature on top of its owner's library. Scry 1. So basically, it'll look at the top card of your library. You may put that card on the bottom of your library. So I'm not sure if the Scry 1 means. That means you pay an extra mana, and you can throw it on the bottom instead of the top. Pretty cool card. Definitely look forward to playing that. And finally, the 6th card in the second pack is a Priest of the Bloodright. When Priest of the Bloodright enters the battlefield, put a 5/5 black demon creature token with flying on the battlefield. At the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 2 life. So basically, you lose 2 life every turn to have that out. So I'm not sure if you can kill that, and that would also go out. But interesting card. I can definitely see it's some use for knocking people out pretty early. So in the final Magic Origins booster pack, We got a Mythic Rare card, whatever that means. So we have Might of the Masses. Target creature gets 1/1 until end of turn for each creature you control. So if you have 5 on the board, you get a 5/5 counter. This is really good for doing unfavorable trades against bigger creatures. Like say you have a 3/6 going after you, and you have a 3/1 attacking it, for example, and there's 4 creatures on the board. You basically go to 7/5, keep your creature, and kill it. So make some really good trades. Timberpack Wolf is a 2 mana 1 tree card. Timberpack Wolf gets 1/1 for each other creature you control named Timberpack Wolf. So basically, kind of works like the Sparks and Shadow era. Or also, like for example, a Stormwind Champion buffing a Stormwind Champion. You'd get the 1/1 effect for that as well. So you'd get 3/3 if you have another one. It'd be 4/4, 5/5. You can do some crazy stuff. And the fact that it's 2 mana, if you have 2 of them in your hand right away, that can be really powerful. Third card is the Artifact Creature Construct. Bonded Construct can't attack alone, meaning that if you attack, you have to attack with more than one thing, or else you just can't attack. So it's an interesting mechanic. It is a 1 mana card, meaning that anything can use it, as long as you have some sort of mana. So if you have a multi-mana deck, you can play it basically with anything. So the final card is a Blazing Hellhound. I'm wondering if this is the Mythic Rare. I'm not sure how to actually tell the card quality. It's a 4 mana, 1 plane, and 1 volcanic thing, whatever it's called. 1 mana or Skull and Fire. For 1 mana, sacrifice another creature. Blazing Hellhound deals 1 damage to target creature or player. So I don't know if you can actually use this on another creature like somebody else's, or if you have to use it on your own creature, but if you can use it on other creatures, this is a really powerful card for removing tougher creatures. And definitely look forward to using that. Next up, we have the Blessed Spirits Flying. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, put a 1/1 counter on Blessed Spirits. So in white mana decks, this can get really out of hand as they have a lot of enchants available. And the final card is the Woodland Bellower, which is a 6 mana 2 forest card. When Woodland Bellower enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a non-legendary green creature card with converted mana cost 3 or less and put it on the battlefield, then shuffle your library. So a 6/5 card that basically lets you put out another 3-drop or less on there. So that's a pretty cool effect. And shuffling the deck definitely makes things interesting. And for buying booster packs, 150 gold will get you 1, 32 for 4,800, but there appears to be no discount for buying any set amount. So buying 2 booster packs for 300, we're going to do that. I'm sure there's a mechanic where you can actually buy it for real money. So we're going to open up another 2 Magic the Gathering Origins booster packs. First card in the 4th deck is a Grasp of the Heromancer. Enchant Aura. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets 1/1 and has, whenever this creature attacks, tap target creature defending player controls. But basically, if you don't block with it, you're basically going to lose a card. So like say if you have a 15/15 on the board and the creature is flying, you can use that basically to tap it every turn so you don't take 15 damage. So it's a very powerful enchantment, and it goes well with a card in another deck. So our second card is a Kythian's Tactic Sorcery. Creatures you control gain +2/+1 until end of turn. If there are 2 or more instant and or sorcery cards in your graveyard, those creatures also gain Vigilance until end of turn. So that's very significant to play this kind of later in the game, because with Vigilance, your creatures don't tap after attacking, and that's very powerful, especially if you're controlling the board. Third card is an Infernal Scarring. Enchant Aura. Enchanted creature gets +2/+0 and has, when this creature dies, draw a card. So basically it's another way to cause unfavorable trades, and it's also a good way to get some card draws. Card draw is very powerful in every game. And next up we have the Throwing Knife, which is a 2 mana artifact enchantment. Equipped creature gains +2/+0. Whenever equipped creature attacks, you may sacrifice Throwing Knife. If you do, Throwing Knife deals 2 damage to target creature or player. And for 2 mana, you can attach the target creature you control and equip only as a sorcery. So the fact that you can throw 2 damage at something is really good. And as we know, artifacts can just stick, and you can only remove them in certain ways. So, Call the Full Moon is a 2 mana card. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +3/+2 and has trample. At the beginning of each upkeep, if a player casted 2 or more spells last turn, sacrifice Call of the Full Moon. So this is a card that is a really good one to play early on. Like if you have a 1 mana fire creature, and then you play this card, especially if he has nothing on the board, that can be upwards of 5-6 damage, and even with trample, you can still do damage to the hero and make some trades. Final card in the 4th pack is an Evolutionary Leap, which is a 2 mana 1/4 enchantment. Sacrifice a creature for 1 mana. Reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card. Put that card in your hand and the rest of the bottom of your library in a random order. So basically, if you have a 1/1 creature on the board, you can sacrifice it and try to get something better. I don't know if that's really a good card. Doesn't seem to be, but I could be wrong on that. So the next booster pack, which is number 5 in a series, we have a Emperor Tactician, creature, human, soldier. When Emperor Tactician enters the battlefield, creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. So it's very good when you're attacking, especially if you can play the creature during the attack phase, just to kind of cause some trades. So Fairy Miscreant, creature, fairy rogue, flying, and when Fairy Miscreant enters the battlefield, if you control another creature named Fairy Miscreant, draw a card. So this is a really good aggro card. So like if you have 2 of these in your deck, it's really easy to play them. So you basically have 2 creatures on the board with flying, and then also draw a card. We know blue is really specialized in flying a lot. Speaking of which, we have an Aspirine Aeronaut, which also has flying and 1/2. When Aspirine Aeronaut enters the battlefield, put a 1/1 colorless Thorpter artifact creature token with flying on the battlefield. So this is basically like a summon 2/3 altogether for 4 mana. I don't know if that's good, but flying is usually a pretty tricky mechanic to counter. Next up, we have a Fleshbag Marauder, which is a zombie warrior. When Fleshbag Marauder enters the battlefield, each player sacrifices a creature, and I did get that one before. At 3/1, it doesn't seem very good, though, unless you're not controlling the board. Next up, we have Sphinx's Tutelage. Enchantment, whenever you draw a card, target opponent puts the top 2 cards of his or her library into his or her graveyard. If they're both non-land cards that share a color, repeat this process. And for 6 mana, you can draw a card, then discard a card. So basically, this would force you to draw their whole deck and basically mill them. So I can see that card being very powerful and very useful. And the final card in the 5th booster pack is a Despoiler of Souls. Despoiler of Souls cannot block, and for 2 mana, exile 2 other creature cards from your graveyard. Return Despoiler of Souls from your graveyard to the battlefield. So basically you can use this in the graveyard, and you can exile. I don't know why. Well, you could do that from the graveyard. So basically if you have a lot of creatures killed, you can bring that back. So that's kind of cool if you're running a heavy creature deck. As you can see in the store, it's 150 coins for every card that you get. And you get 6 cards in every pack. And if you wanted to buy more coins, you could spend up to $39.99 for 7,500 coins, or if you just play the game. Congratulations, you started your very own collection. Now let's put those cards to good use. Head into battle mode. And in order to play the rest of the story, you have to obviously play a game in solo or versus battle mode. So you have to make a deck for that. So we're going to go into battle mode, where you can put your decks you create to the test. Solo battle allows you to play against a wide variety of AI opponents. It's a great place to practice, learn new strategies, and try out new ideas. Versus battle allows you to play against other players and is the ultimate test of skill. In Two-Headed Giant, which is a popular Magic the Gathering game mode, team up with a friend or the AI to take on a pair of opponents, basically like a 3-on-1, and the Two-Headed Giant usually has overpowered cards. And my decks is where you can create an edit deck. Let's try this now. So step-by-step deck building assistant and total control for experienced players. We're going to go into the deck builder. You're about to enter the deck builder. This method of building decks gives you more control over specific cards in your deck, but is significantly more complex. If you are new to Magic, why not try the deck wizard? How about kiss my fucking ass? obviously, it's going to be a lot of kind of play and see what actually works. And it looks like you're going to have 60 cards all together in your deck, and add cards, drag them here. Let's see if we can filter out so now we have red mana cards. There's some pretty cool cards in here. There's obviously a lot of cards that I have to deal with. We can also set the number of mountains. Let's say 12. 12 seems like a pretty good amount. So basically this is the deck builder. You can put any sort of cards in here. And obviously because you have mountains, you can only put certain cards in there, but certain ones also act as land. So like if you're building a multicolored deck, that's pretty important. Pretty cool aspect, and you can also show the number of 1-drops, 2-drops, 3-drops, 4-drops, 5-drops, or 6+ that you have in your deck. And I'm guessing that the Poison Scab is the rare. Foil all copies of this card for 5 callings. That's kind of interesting. You can foil cards too. I don't know why you can't actually foil that. Maybe you can't foil land. And also shows that it's from the starter box here, so pretty cool mechanics from Magic the Gathering, and we'll actually build some decks and screw around with this later, as we'll probably be doing a live stream on this. So if you like this video showing off 5 booster packs in Magic the Gathering Duels Origins, and also a couple of the things that are in the game, please give this video a like rating, comment, subscribe, share this video amongst your friends, and as a favorite, check out my other YouTube videos playlist, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch, which are all HollywoodShono. And have a wonderful day, kids.
www.youtube.com/HollywoodShono. Subscribe, bitches!